Breaking news today, the Russian oil depot was bombed by Ukrainian drones. Reportedly, an oil depot in occupied Luhansk belonging to Russia was detonated by Ukrainian drones on Sunday night. Smoke plumes were captured on video as they rose into the sky. The fire at the facility has been put out, according to Russian news agency RIA Novosti. Nobody was hurt, according to the news agency. Russia unilaterally seized the city of Luhansk in the same-named eastern Ukrainian region in September 2022. Official comment from Ukraine is still pending. Zalinski skipping over Zelensky while by speaking with lower-ranking officers. Volodymyr Zalinski allegedly bypassed General Valery Zelensky. According to the Ukrainian newspaper Ukrainska Pravda, Mr. Zelensky has established channels of communication that bypass General Zelensky, with Colonel General Alexander Syrsky leading the ground forces and Lieutenant General Mykola Olszczuk leading the air force. The newspaper was informed by an insider close to Zelensky that there is a perception that Zelensky has created a schism within the armed forces, with one group being led by Syrsky and other favorites and the other being subordinate to Zelensky. The chief executive is severely demoralized and, more significantly, he is unable to exercise command over the whole military force. Following the failure of Ukraine's much-touted counteroffensive to produce the anticipated breakthrough, tensions between Mr. Zelensky and General Zelensky have recently begun to spill over, as indicated by the report.as of the end of the year. U.S. aid to Ukraine will run out. The United States government has warned that unless Congress passes Joe Biden's new budget plan, aid to Ukraine will expire at the year's end. A letter was sent to Congress and Senate leaders by Shalanda Young, Director of the Office of Management and Budget. In the letter, Young made it clear that without congressional action, the United States will not have enough money to purchase additional weapons and equipment for Ukraine or to use equipment from U.S. military stocks. The letter was made public after publication. At this very moment, there is no Enchanted Fund waiting to be tapped. We are running low on resources and time. According to her, the U.S. has depleted its funds meant to support Ukraine's economy and warned that the country would be unable to continue fighting if Ukraine's economy collapses, full stop. A funding package that would include £48 billion, $61 billion, in additional aid for Ukraine is being blocked by Republicans in Congress. There might have been 350,000 casualties for Russia. According to the British Ministry of Defense, MOD, Russia's casualties in the conflict with Ukraine could reach 350,000. The most recent defense intelligence briefing stated, therefore, overall, the Russian side has likely suffered around 220,000 to 280,000 wounded and approximately 70,000 killed. According to the data, the total number of casualties among Russian combatants could be anywhere from 290,000 to 350,000. A low level of understanding about total casualty figures among Russian officials and civilians has likely been caused by a long-established culture of dishonest reporting in the Russian military. According to the MOD, Russia faces accusations for executing Ukrainians who surrender. It appears that Russia committed a war crime when it allegedly killed 2 Ukrainian soldiers who were surrendering. After the 2 men emerged from a dugout with their hands on their heads, footage shows that a group of men dressed as Russians opened fire on them from close range. Russian forces allegedly executed unarmed soldiers in the video, according to the Ukrainian Army's Strategic Communications Center, which claims to have confirmed information on the matter. An investigation into possible violation of the laws and customs of war, combined with intentional murder, was initiated on Sunday by the Prosecutor General's office in Ukraine. According to the report, the incident took place in the eastern Donetsk region of Ukraine, close to the village of Stepov. The time of the incident was not specified. Blown up by mine. General's death is confirmed by Russian governor. The governor of Russia's Voronezh region has confirmed the death of Russian Major General Vladimir Zavadsky. The name of Vladimir Zavadsky, a brave officer, a true general, and an honorable man, will indelibly be remembered in the annals of our fatherland, as Alexander Gusev expressed on Telegram. According to Ukrainian Colonel Anatoly Stefan and several pro-Kremlin Telegram channels, he was killed in a landmine explosion on Wednesday. No comment was made by Mr. Gusev regarding the manner of death of Major General Zavadsky, who was the deputy commander of the 14th Army Corps. It is believed that 6 additional generals have perished since the invasion in February 2022. Russia plans to revise its health requirements for military service. Russian defense officials have suggested new guidelines for the conscription of civilians whose health problems do not have a significant impact on their combat readiness. Vladimir Putin recently ordered a 170,000-strong army expansion, and this plan follows suit. According to the independent news outlet Meduza, the information has been published on the official legal portal of the government. Although the papers state that the changes are intended to improve the current health requirements, they do not elaborate on what exactly those changes are. Alina Zalinski, I would prefer it if my husband did not serve a second stint. Volodymyr Zelensky's potential re-election is something Alina Zalinski strongly opposes. She expressed her disapproval of him serving another term or two as president in an interview with The Economist. The war with Russia has rendered the March presidential elections null and void. When the war ends, our family will be together again, she declared in response to a question about her plans for the future. My husband and I will always live side by side with our children. Mr. Zelensky has already stated that he would not participate in any future elections until the war has continued. Lukashenko expresses gratitude for China's friendship during his visit to Beijing. During his second trip to Beijing this year, Alexander Lukashenko praised Belarus's reliable friendship with China. During their meeting, Mr. Lukashenko assured Mr. Jinping that Belarus would remain a dependable partner for China. Initial trucks break through Polish border following blockade. After Polish truckers blocked other checkpoints for a month, the first lorries have crossed a newly opened Ukrainian-Polish border crossing. After the Uranivdalho-Bykov crossing opened at 1 a.m. local time on Monday, 30 trucks passed through it, according to Ukraine's border service. As a form of protest against what they perceive as unfair competition from Ukraine, Polish hauliers have blocked 4 border crossings. They have called for the revocation of the Ukrainians' visa-free travel to the EU. According to Brussels and Kiev, this is not feasible. Ukraine targeted by 23 Russian drones in overnight attack from its occupied territory in Crimea. Russia invaded Ukraine early Monday morning with 23 drones and a missile. According to Ukraine's Air Force, they shot down an Iranian-designed Shahed drone and a Kh-59 guided missile. From Cape Chauda in occupied Crimea and the airspace of the occupied Kherson region, the enemy launched an attack using 23 Shahed 136/131 strike drones and a guided missile, the statement continued. No damage assessment was provided by the Air Force. Russian authorities are scrutinizing the online activities of families of service members. According to the think tank Institute for the Study of War, Russia is allegedly silencing the relatives of Ukrainian soldiers who are fighting in the conflict out of concern that their statements may hurt Vladimir Putin's anticipated presidential campaign in 2019. It claimed that several internet bots had specifically targeted members of the Way Home protest group, falsely accusing them of having ties to Alexei Navalny, an opposition figure currently serving time in prison. Censorship occurred shortly after the group's manifesto, which condemned indefinite mobilization and accused the Kremlin of treachery, was published. The promises turned out to be empty, it stated on the social messaging platform Telegram. Our own people have betrayed us. After forming 3 months ago, the group has already gained support in 29 cities across Russia and announced plans to hold demonstrations.